So what we're gonna do with the recording is we're actually going to be putting this on our YouTube page. If you guys are interested in getting the link to that, please email the email org box below. Also, if you have any questions afterwards, you can always email us at that org box as well.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm Master Sergeant Laura Arnold. I've been in the Air Force for almost 18 years. Been doing recruiting for almost 10, and super excited to be doing this pharmacy briefing. And I'll let Sergeant Branham introduce himself.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Master Sergeant Nicholas Branham. I've been in the Air Force going on 20 years now. Aircraft mechanic by trade. This is my second stint in recruiting service with about a 7 or 8 year gap in between from doing enlisted into officer sessions. For me, I figured it would be a great way to finish up my career by helping people such as yourselves potentially join the Air Force. I figured it's a great way to give back to a service that gave me so much. So without further ado.
Also, we have a special guest speaker. Captain Holmes is on board, and she's actually a pharmacist in the Air Force currently right now. So, ma'am, if you'd like to introduce yourself, you're more than welcome.
Can everyone see me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes.
There you go.
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
Unmute.
Oh, there you go.
Good to go.
Perfect.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Captain Holmes. I am stationed here at Beale in Northern California. I've been in for about a year now, so new, so I'll be able to answer a lot of your questions. If you're curious, I'm more than happy to help. So I'll let them get started with the PowerPoint and be happy to answer any questions at the end.
All right, so what we're going to do is go over some of the eligibility requirements, position description, some advantages to being a pharmacist in the Air Force, training and professional growth, Air Force benefits, next steps to do so, and answer any questions.
All right. So eligibility requirements for fully qualified pharmacists in the Air Force is you must pass the military physical. That's step number 1. Be a U.S. citizen. The age cutoff is 42 years old. And then you must possess a doctor of pharmacy or a PharmD degree or a bachelor's of pharmacy. And you must be a licensed pharmacist prior to entering active duty.
All right, for the Health Profession Scholarship Program, you must be able to pass a military physical, which is like a sports physical. We're not talking push-ups, sit-ups, running, anything like that. We're talking medical to make sure you're healthy enough to join. You got to be a U.S. citizen, and you have to be accepted into a doctorate level accredited PharmD program. And then finally, you got to be under the age of 39 upon completion of the PharmD.
So position description, Air Force pharmacists engage in a full spectrum of pharmaceutical services, most importantly, ensuring prescriptions are filled and dispensed to our beneficiaries accurately and safely. They will run pharmacy ranging from 2 or 3 technicians in a small clinic to a 90-person staff in a large hospital.
Captain Holmes, would you like to elaborate on that at all?
Yeah, so the range of facilities that you can practice in the Air Force is huge. So at Beale, I am over a smaller clinic, so we just have one pharmacy. However, there's places like Nellis or Travis, which have satellite pharmacies. They'll have like 2 or 3 satellite pharmacies. They'll have some pharmacies that just do refills. They will have their inpatient pharmacies. So tons of different opportunities to practice different types of pharmacy. And the pharmacists are not limited to the location that they practice at. So you don't have to have like a residency or anything to do inpatient, anything like that. So lots of possibilities.
All right, so some of the advantages to being a pharmacist in the Air Force. Paid CMEs, no overhead costs, there's no leases or payroll to deal with. You're not dealing with hiring and firing and training people. You don't have to worry about buying and maintaining the equipment. It's a ready-made clinic and they already have an established patient base. You don't have to worry about malpractice insurance. The license transfers all over the world. It's good in all states. There is the 20-year retirement plan. And then, as mentioned, small, medium, and large clinical settings.
So just to continue on the advantages for pharmacists in the Air Force, your salary is basically going to match what the civilian side has to offer. Comprehensive medical and dental coverage. And then you don't have to go in and establish any type of practice or group hospital settings. That's already done for you. And then access to excellent colleague consultants on a daily basis. 30 days of vacation that's paid, which is great. And then no malpractice insurance, educated and loyal patient base that's going to follow your treatment plans, and no overhead expenditures, no staffing concerns, payroll, headaches, tax issues, logistics, or supply problems.
All right, so there are some leadership and advancement opportunities. You can go as a department chair, pharmacy residencies, and then you could even go so far as being a hospital commander as pharmacy admin. Captain Holmes, would you like to chime in on advantages to being a pharmacist in the Air Force?
So I think your slide there pretty much sums it up. I think for a lot of you guys, I'm not sure if you're just in pharmacy school or if you're already practicing. I did practice in the retail sector before I got to the Air Force. So I'm definitely able to speak on both fronts and what you're gaining by joining the Air Force. And you don't have to worry about being stuck in a position in the Air Force is what I would definitely say. So with for me being in retail, you get to be a pharmacy manager and then it's like, what's next? You're going to really be removed from patient care after that. If you are trying to move up further in a company, but here with the Air Force, you're constantly in your field, but continuing to develop, whether it be as a flight commander to where you get to, maybe see different sections in the clinic and be a part of those and further your knowledge and see how pharmacy, that being your background, but how it integrates into the whole clinic and what you do. So that's a great thing to see. And there is a retired colonel who I currently work with. He volunteers at our pharmacy and he went as high as being over, how would you explain it? So with astronauts and them coming back, when they're coming back to Earth, and how are you going to get them out of their spacesuits and all this crazy stuff, it's like, that would be something that you would never, ever have the opportunity to do. But the Air Force provides that opportunity as long as you're willing to work and just be flexible. So lots of possibilities.
All right. So training as an Air Force pharmacist. As an Air Force pharmacist, you'll be a member of the Biomedical Sciences Corps and a highly respected member of one of the world's premier healthcare teams. You will enter the active duty and attend an 8-week commissioned officer training program at Maxwell Air Force Base in Alabama. This course is aligned in a 4-phase approach: orientation, development, application, and transition.
So some of the benefits of becoming a pharmacist for the Air Force: you got an excellent starting salary with regular pay raises and promotions, 30 days of vacation with pay per year, and it does carry over with a max of 60 days accrued. There's continuing education opportunities. We have the tuition assistance program while you're active. So if you want to pursue further education while you're in a non-military setting, they'll pay up to $250 per semester hour, I want to say, for schooling. And then the post 9/11 GI Bill benefits. You get tax-free housing and food allowances, comprehensive medical and dental care, and then opportunities to live, work, and travel worldwide with a generous retirement program.
Cool. So if you are interested in joining the Air Force, becoming a pharmacist for us, these are the next steps. So basically, you would need to contact us at that org box email that was on the first slide. And then also at that point, you'll do an initial appointment where you have to provide documents. And then from there, you'll go and you'll do your application process through an Air Force representative who's going to help you out and get your stuff submitted to the board for review. And then after that, you'll be selected. And then from there, you'll do your commissioning documents and be on your way to the training program.
All right.
Sorry.
So what kind of question do you guys have?
Yeah. I see one in the chat already.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, just have a quick question. For someone who has been in the force before, like I was in the army, I was out last year. Does the requirement change or is still the same thing, same process and other things?
So it would still be the same process. And we would have to see what your prior career field was and stuff like that. Make sure that you're good to go as far as all the other things that would get you into the Air Force. So we're going to type the email address in the chat as well. Please help with recent graduate. The Air Force does offer a program. It's called the HPLRP, Health Professions Loan Repayment Program. You can apply to that once a year while you're in the Air Force. It's not guaranteed that they'll pay that right away, or because they only have so many loan repayment offers for the year before they're capped off. So yes, but it is competitive, just so you're aware. And then can you elaborate on the HPSP? How does an interested PharmD student apply for the scholarship? So the first step in applying to the scholarship program is to contact us at the org box, and then we'll definitely help you out and get you all the information you need as far as for the health profession scholarship program. So if you're graduating this year, you should apply now. Yeah.
Yeah, 2021, so that'd be a fully qualified position.
Yes.
You gotta have your boards complete and your license done, but we can get the process started now. Just shoot us an email at that org box gets listed. Yes, there are opportunities abroad. Yeah, and we do deal with recruiting for Ramstein as well.
Just if I could chime in really quick.
Absolutely.
There was a question about when to apply. Yeah, so definitely apply now. And just kind of for reference, just like the pharmacy field is really competitive, outside, it's definitely competitive inside too. So when you go forth and put your applications together, your letter of interest or all that kind of stuff, just make sure that you are really putting your best foot forward and thinking about how you can show the Air Force that you're going to bring leadership. That's one of the biggest things. So just keep that in mind, definitely when you're putting your package together.
Thanks, ma'am. Currently serving as.
So I would say
It just depends.
it depends on the individual when it comes down to how long the process takes. For more information on that, just shoot us an email at the org box because it's case by case. Captain Holmes, could you tell us what it's like to be deployed as a pharmacist in the Air Force?
Yeah, so I have yet to be deployed, but I have someone who actually went to pharmacy school with who's deployed currently. She is at a hospital, just working inpatient mostly. I don't have too much more information than that. It is a 6-month deployment, and she's just working inpatient pharmacy. From what I see, you're only really going to go to places where they have an established hospital. They don't, no need for you to be out in a more rural zone when, what are you going to do as a pharmacist? So I guess that's a good thing, but actually out of my location, they do not deploy pharmacists.
So I'll go for the station question.
Okay.
So Haley, you asked what determines where you'll be stationed. That's going to be based off of needs of the Air Force and your desires. So we have what's called an assignment preference listing that we can fill out on a computer system within the Air Force. You can list up to 10 stateside and 10 overseas bases. So essentially with that, whenever the time comes around for assignment cycles or whatnot, Big Air Force is going to look at your list and they're going to match it to what's available. And they do it top down with that. So like for me personally, I've gotten pretty lucky with it. I got my first choice out of tech school, second choice out of my first assignment, first choice out of my second assignment, first choice out of my third assignment. Then I drew zeros. I got sent non-volunteer to South Korea. It ended up being an awesome assignment, but it happens. And then I got my second choice out of there, which was Vegas. And then I got my third choice out of that, which is here in Boston. So that's kind of how it works in a nutshell.
Cool. So Captain Holmes, some of the questions that we actually get from the field is like, what's a day in a life of an Air Force pharmacist? Like, what are your hours? What is your patient load? Who are your patients? Those kinds of things.
Yeah, so for me here at Beale, like I said, it is a smaller clinic, a smaller base. So our normal work day is 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. We are not open on weekends. We see on average probably about 150, 180 patients a day and do about 350 prescriptions a day. So not a huge workload, but with that, I'm the pharmacist in charge. So I am basically the only pharmacist for the most part. My flight commander is also a pharmacist, so she's able to cover on like lunches and things like that. But it's just me as the pharmacist here, and I get a volunteer like 2 days a week. So with that being said, being the pharmacist in charge, you have a lot of responsibilities outside of the pharmacy as far as Air Force readiness and things that you need to do on that front. So I am mostly making sure that we are medically prepared as far as our readiness standpoint goes and with our team. And then also making sure that we serve the patients. My staff, I currently have 6 technicians under me. They have a lot more flexibility than they do in the civilian sector. So they're able to do a lot of things in there. And then I just come and verify when I can. But I am doing a lot of outside things, coming up with protocols for the clinic or the pharmacy. We have a birth control clinic that I lead here. So I'm able to prescribe birth control to our beneficiaries here. And just lots of different Air Force protocols that come down and need to be implemented in the pharmacy. It's my responsibility to figure out how we're going to implement them here at our location. So this being my first base, it's not typical, I believe. A lot more people go to bigger bases to where, there's senior pharmacists who are able to guide more so, but I'm here and just learning like way more than any of my counterparts would ever learn like in their first year. So it's good in that aspect. There's a great team, super close with all of the providers here in the clinic. They're great resources for me. So I lean on a lot. And as far as other pharmacists in the Air Force too, that's pretty much what my day looks like.
Awesome. So we had a question, can you elaborate more about training? I'm assuming they mean OTS. So because we've never gone through OTS, can you explain a little more about OTS? Maybe what a day
So
is?
OTS is a 8-week officer preparation course. This has nothing to do with your role as a pharmacist. It just has to do with preparing you as an officer. So in this training, you learn a lot about Air Force culture, how to conduct yourself, things that will be important when you get to your first base, things like that. They're helping you to kind of get acclimated to what you're going to, what to expect from people, how to lead your airmen. So that's going to be the enlisted members underneath you. Just a lot of leadership training, It was it was pretty fun. It's not like basic training where you are going to be, I don't know how to explain it, but if you have your idea of what basic training is like, it's not like that for officers. If you think about it, a lot of the people, so if you come out a pharmacy school, you're going to already be a captain. And so the people who are there to kind of help guide you, you're kind of already outranking them. So it's an interesting dynamic, teaching you how to be respectful to also someone who's underneath you, but is correcting you, so just really teaching you how to grow and be a great leader, because that's really important to take feedback from all airmen. So that's really more so what we focused on, leadership training.
That's awesome. Cool. Thanks so much for that. The last question on here is residency required, or can you apply directly after graduation?
Yeah, residency is not required. And that's the greatest part about being in the Air Force, because you can be an inpatient pharmacist and not have a residency, which is not typical on the outside. So that is available to you. You can also, when you come into the Air Force, they have residency programs available. So you can come in, be an officer, go to a base and then apply for a residency. And then you'll be, they will actually like put you on a temporary deployment to a base that has the residency, and you would just do your residency program while you're active duty Air Force.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So as far as the medical waivers, that's kind of a case by case. So if you're interested in learning more about that, please email us at the work box. Just because of HIPAA, we can't really divulge any information over this line.
I think we did miss one from Ed. Is family relocation allowed during deployment? For a deployment, like just a 6-month or a 4-month tour overseas for the military member, it would be on the family themselves if they wanted to go back. The Air Force isn't going to pay for that. But they can stay in the housing at home base or whatever while you're gone.
Yeah.
Is there anything else on here we missed?
So that's a part of the Air Force community's job. I've kind of grown to learn that. So if you are on a deployment, there's tons of family support services to where your family is going to have the whole Air Force, at their side while you're gone, helping them with anything that they need. There's groups that are specifically intended for that purpose. So while they don't relocate your family, I do believe that your family is well taken care of in that aspect.
Yeah, they are. I can speak to that one a little bit because when I deployed here back in 2013, I want to say it was, my wife and kids stayed back at Sumter in South Carolina while I was overseas. And in that time, the family support squadron, they were reaching out to them, doing like dinners for them and offering care packages and things to that nature. And then from the Air Force family side of it, the people that you work with and the people that you know, they reach out and they take care of each other. So like one of my really good friends was actually coming over and help my wife like by mowing the yard, fixing little things around the house or whatever that got messed up. Things like that. It's like a tight-knit little family.
Last question on there. How do you know if one of the bases have deployment or not? So I guess because at Beale, you guys don't offer deployment for pharmacy.
There's, I don't believe there's a way of knowing, but so all members will have a time where you are eligible to be deployed. And so even with that, like he said, big Air Force looks down and says, okay, who's eligible to go? But you can also set preferences for those types of things also. But no real way to know. I mean, it's definitely, when you come into the Air Force, you have to come in with a flexible mindset. That's very important. And just a fact of it, you know, no real getting around it. So just come in flexible. 6 months, you're going to a beautiful location, being exposed to amazing new things. So I personally would love to go on a deployment right now, but you know, there even with deployments, there's tons of, they call them like temporary deployments. So where you would just go for like a short period of time to assist with special types of, you know, medical events or something that the Air Force might be having at larger bases. So those are available too. So whether you want to go or, you know, you don't, I guess you can try to, the Air Force is going to look at kind of what you want to, but there's lots of opportunities.
So when it comes down to applying to locations, if you wanted to list just one singular assignment list or one assignment on your listing, you can do that. However, that is gonna, you might get picked for some place that you may not want to go if you're just being picky about it. So there's that. And then Jenna asked if you had any other advice.
For applicants.
Yeah, for applicants.
Just in general, start early. That would be the biggest. Start early, stay organized, keep all your documents together. Just in case on the back end, you know, someone needs an extra copy, you can have it handy. Take it serious. It's going to be a big commitment. And definitely when you come into the Air Force, you are an officer first. So just keep that in mind. You are going to have tons of pharmacy practice opportunities, but you are going to be an officer. You're going to be a leader. You're going to supervise people and have to look out for your people. So that's really important. So when you are applying, I think that would be something to keep in mind, that that's what they're looking for. Know that that's what you're getting into, and know that's what they're looking for. And so I came in with the 2020 recruiting class, and when I went to OTS, there were 3 pharmacists, or 2 other pharmacists there, and those were the only selected in the Air Force with that recruiting class. So 3 people. So that just kind of shows you how competitive it is. So just keep that in mind. So put your best foot forward, definitely.
Any other questions from the field before we? Yes.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, sorry, I was having issues with connecting to this. So I've been on like for 10 minutes. I'm actually a traditional reservist right now, and my friend sent me this link to this Zoom. So I'm looking to know more about it. And before I start, is this recorded so I can have the rest of it by the end of it?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
So we're recording it now, and what we're gonna do is we do have a YouTube channel, so we're gonna post this on the channel so everyone can view it.
Okay.
So yeah, and definitely if you have people that you work with or people that are in school with you that are thinking about doing this program, you can send them the link as well. Okay.
Okay, I'll do that. So I'm at a community college right now. I'm taking prerequisites classes, and I would like to know the route if I want to join.
Okay, for a traditional reservist?
Yes.
All right, so you're gonna have to get a 368 that'll release you from your commitment with the reserves in order to be eligible for the active duty side of it. Really, the best way to do this is to reach out to us via the org box. Do you have the chat available to you? Can you see it all the way up to where it has that org box listed? Or do you need-
Let me see. Yeah, I see a chat. I see a chat. Yeah.
All right, if you click on that and scroll up to the very top, see if our org box is listed. If not, I can
Okay.
type it back in there.
So I'm on the.
Here, I'll just type it in there.
Okay.
So Captain Holmes, next question in the chat is, they want to know if Air Force pharmacists still cover for Space Force bases, or are they recruiting pharmacists under different guidelines? I don't know if you can answer that question. Also, do you have options for transfer and becoming an unrestricted line officer or other MOS training opportunities?
So as far as being on Space Force bases, as far as I know, Space Force is operating within the Air Force. So I don't believe that they're going to get their own bases. So you'll serve on an Air Force base. We serve Space Force patients now. Those are our beneficiaries. So they come here. And the other question, are there other?
So the other question on that question was, do you have an option to transfer into becoming an unrestricted line officer or another MOS / training opportunities? So like, let's say they're a pharmacist, but now they want to go maybe be a pilot. I'm assuming that's what the question is meaning.
Yeah, will they let you cross train?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you would be able to. But the routes, I'm not too sure how you would do that. That would be, someone is very ambitious. You're gonna go through 4 years of pharmacy school and then go through a whole new career. But hey, if you want to do it, I'm sure that there's the Air Force is pretty flexible, so I'm sure you could probably figure it out. But I have not seen that. So.
Okay, thanks, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else asked if there are any opportunities to work with pharmaceutical industries through the Air Force.
Oh. So you want to look like more so into research, or because So the way that the government works, because you're a government entity, your communication with these pharmaceutical companies, I believe, is going to be very limited because you're going to have to be under specific contracts. So I don't really see it happening, and I haven't heard of it. So I would probably say no, I don't believe so.
Excuse me, sorry. Thank you. Would it also be, in terms of research, would it be more of like a collaboration role where maybe through studies or like meta studies in terms of that way, or is it strictly more the clinical side where it's more of a retail / hospital setting?
So both of those options are available. With, say you're at a larger base and maybe you're a part of the DHA, which is the Defense Health Agency, it's going to cover all branches of military now. So say that they have a study, some type of study going on with studying patient populations within the DHA. I'm sure that those would be possibilities. You'd probably have to be at a larger base, but I'm sure that happens. I don't know of any currently going on. The DHA is currently transitioning to incorporate all of the military bases. So I think their forefront, their focus is on that, but I can see it happening in the future. And then you said or was it more retail based? Was that the second?
It was more of like a question as in terms of like just like statewide business involvement with the Air Force. Like I'm in my last year of pharmacy school, so I'm just more like wondering how involved the Air Force would be with like the industry of pharmacy, like any major pharmaceutical companies and like this sort.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen too much involvement like that, but
okay.
Being a pharmacist in the Air Force, you have a lot of roles with implementing. So USP 800 guidelines, you are going to be the sole person responsible for implementing them at your base. They will give you, some type of guidelines. There is a share space with the Air Force pharmacies. So, someone can put out kind of like a template on how to do it, but then it's your responsibility to then create a protocol for how is this going to continue when I leave? How am I going to make sure that I'm meeting all these standards and things like that? So in the retail sector, they're going to tell you what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. Here, they're going to give you the guidelines, the big umbrella, and then you have to make sure that all of your processes are going to cover everything under that. So that's more so what I've seen with the Air Force.
Thank you.
So,
Mm.
okay, so do we need a pharmacist license to apply?
Did you say?
Pharmacist license?
Yeah, you gotta have your license to get the position. Now, if you're like getting ready to graduate and you're interested in pursuing this, we can start your process now, but ultimately you have to have that license before you actually come into the Air Force.
So I'll be graduating in May. So how early can I start the process?
You say you just graduated in May?
No, and I'll be graduating in May next year.
Oh, okay. So I would say reach out probably around February, March timeframe, somewhere in there.
Oh. All right.
Anybody else have any questions? No? All right. Well, I would like to thank everybody for coming to our briefing. Captain Holmes, we really appreciate you taking time out of your day to help us out. It is invaluable. It really is. We get a lot of
Yeah,
questions.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. I think I got a request for like my email. If anyone
Yeah.
wants, I will go ahead and just put it in the chat. And you guys can reach out if you have any questions, and I will try my best to get to your emails and answer the questions as best as I can. So that's it. Thanks, guys. Good luck with everything.
Yeah. So who should I reach out to for the process?
That org box that we typed in there earlier, the 318 rcs.eflt.talentacquisitions@us.af.mil.
All right. Okay.
So we're gonna leave this up for a couple of minutes so everybody can get Captain Holmes's email address, but we are gonna stop the recording.
All right. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Awesome. Thank you.